Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gibbo the Shaman. Welcome. Uh, so recently you know, I've been, I've had an experience I've been thinking about, and I've been, kind of, processing some stuff in regards to, well, my teaching today, which would be, you know, it's very important to act in opposition to how you're feeling. Now, for me, just a second, guys. Trying to get my. Okay, so yeah, for me, for the longest time now, I've been taking actions that are not conducive to my well being. So, for example, you know, sleeping in very late, I've been not working on my YouTube channel, not, you know, physically exercising or doing things that are good for me and proactive for me. And it's been like this for a long time. And, I just got tired of it. I'm just like, you know, it's, I, I was, I'm at a place now where I'm like, I don't know where my life is headed, in all honesty. Like, I want certain things in my life, but it's very challenging to get those things, to get what I want. And in order to get what I want, I have to do things that are different, that I've never done before. So you might have heard the old saying, like, if you want to, in order to get what you want, in order to get something different, you have to do something different. And that's true. Um, and yeah, so I lately have been just slacking a lot, in all honesty, because I feel like, I'm kind of in my, uh, a mentality where it's just like, what's the point? It's not worth doing. It's impossible. Those kinds of things. And, you know, and I'm like, okay, well, if things don't change for me, then what am I doing? Like, if this is the mentality that things are never going to change, I have to take some accountability. I have to, you know, um, fix something in my life. Um, and so that's what I did. So I can tell you, a lot of people I've come in contact with in my teachings, in my daily life on this YouTube channel, or just in my personal life, um, they have this assumption about them. They have this assumption um, that, that they have to change or get rid of their feelings. So they have to, like, either overcome their feelings to stop their feelings, or they have to, if they don't overcome their feelings, they have to act in accordance with those feelings. So I'm feeling angry, so I'll go punch someone, or I'm feeling sad and depressed, so I'll just stay home and I'll sit on the couch, watch YouTube, watch whatever, and I'll just veg out, eat, you know, eat junk food and all that stuff. And it's just it's very um counterproductive because I know we all want to feel good. I know we all want to live good lives where we feel in tune with ourselves, we feel good about ourselves. That's what all of us want, right? So, and whatever that means for you individually. So, um yeah. And then so, you know, it's just so what I've discovered is that want I needed to make a change. So essentially, what's it called? So I'm sorry, I'm distracted because there's music playing in the other room. So I'm gonna try not to get copyright here because I don't know how much you guys can hear, but I can hear. um, okay, so essentially, so what am I saying? Sorry guys, I'm so distracted. Okay, so for me, it's just like so essentially it's just yeah, just so I had this realization like recently, like yesterday, that I needed to do something different. I needed some, something different, something to recenter myself, reconnect with myself, and um and so what I did is I reached out to my higher self, and the higher self is lives here in the third eye, in the pineal gland, the third eye right here. And so what the higher self does, you have a higher self, a lower self in your navel, and a middle self or a soul in your heart center. So the higher self, what that does is it gives us realization. It gives us higher consciousness about what we should do, about the correct actions to take. And it's just like if you imagine what your perfect self, like the things that that person would do, that perfect version of yourself, and even what you want to do, what you need to do in order to achieve some something in your life, whether it be I don't care if it's like just happiness or if it's a beach house, you know living in a tropical paradise like I want to do. um there's certain actions that are required to do that, right? And so in order to do those, you have to do something that you have never done before, right? You have to follow a higher path. You have to follow a higher calling. And that means doing stuff irregardless of your feelings, how you feel, what you want to do, what your body is saying to do. I mean, my natural state is to dive into unconsciousness. I don't it doesn't come natural to me to do things that are good for me. I yeah, if I'm not constantly trying every day to just do what my higher self tells me to do, I will dive and plunge into unconscious behavior, and my life will just spiral downwards and devolve into something that is really awful to experience. Yeah, so even when you take those good actions that the higher self is trying to call you to do, you might feel like crap. You might feel like utter garbage. And I guess what my higher self has been calling me to do today is just be honest with you guys about, I know that there's some people out there that can relate to me, and I know that I can help some people um, by sharing this stuff. Um, so yeah, I really appreciate you guys listening to me. So today what we're going to discuss is just, I wanted to share this story about what I'm going through now that we're done with that. I you know, so I wanted to tell you about the three ones, okay? So this is a very important shamanic teaching. This is found in nearly all pre-Christian religions and teachings and things like that. So you talk about the Norse, like the Norse mythology, they had this in their mythology. You have this in Hinduism, you have this in other teachings, you have in Native American mythology, you have heaven, earth, and man. Um, so this is found in a lot of areas. So this is not just one particular religion or teaching. This is a lot, like, this is a teaching that is found in all pre-Christian religions, or at least most. At least it's like more than one. It's not just one. So I want to tell you today about the three ones. So let's start off the lesson with the lower self. So the lower self, or the lower dantian. So there's actually, along with, I mean, most people have heard about the seven chakras in the body: the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart center, the throat, the third eye, and the crown chakra, right? So essentially, when we like move past those are the chakras are actually the levels of conscious awareness. So when we do kundalini, that movement of the spine, when we take our hands and we move back and forth like this, side to side, twisting our body, that movement actually, it what it does is it cleans out the kundalini. It gets it flowing through the body. And so as we clean that kundalini, the kundalini will actually rise up through the spinal column, and it will hit these chakras. And it's not pronounced chakras, it's chakras. And so these are wheels, these are energy centers And so the root chakra represents like fear and base survival, like having your needs met, and the fear that comes along with not, not being able to survive. And there's other ones like the sacral chakra that is related to creativity and the expression of like sexual expression, things like that. Then there's other ones that I don't really want to go into those today, but I have taught about those in the past, so you can look up those videos about the chakras. So the three energy centers are the same concept as the chakras, except it is a little bit different. So the chakras are like wheels, so they're spinning in like next to the spine, in front of the spine, they're spinning, and they're just energy centers, meaning they're primarily for kundalini. That's the chakras are kundalini. Now, the three dantians, or the three ones. So you have one in the navel center, so around your belly button. That's the navel center. And these are called these are also referred to in Taoism as the three dantians, or the three cauldrons. So these are major stores of energy. And so, you have one in the navel center, the belly button. You have one in the heart center, in the center of your chest, in that heart center. And then you have one in the third eye. And the third eye, by the way, people like to think about it as like this point right here. This point, right? That's the third eye. But the third eye stems from the pineal gland. So if you go back into like the middle of your brain, the third eye is also connected with the crown chakra, because the crown chakra comes down from the center of the head down into that pineal gland. So it's like the same, it's like two different aspects of one thing. So anyhow, so the third eye, or the upper dantian, this is your higher self. So I actually, I was in such a state of aggravation, depression, just like, I was just like, man, things are like really crappy. They're never gonna change. I'm done trying at this point, but I if I don't try, I will beat myself up. Like, if I have to keep pushing the boundary. I have to, this is my whole thing. I have to keep trying. I have to keep doing it until it works. I will bang my head against the wall until I get it, until I get everything that I want. I will, like, this is what I have committed to myself. I will never give up. I will never give in. I might take a break. I might say, okay, I need to, like, reassess. I need to take a break. That's fine. But yeah, so I've let myself kind of go. I've let myself kind of just almost to the point where I've given up on myself. So this is what I want to talk about, is the you know, so the lower self, right? This is the unconscious. This is Brahma, the creator. This is Vili. So let me tell you about the three cells in the different forms that they are. So in Hinduism, right? In Hinduism, we have we have Shiva in the upper center, the third eye, Shiva. We have Brahma in the lower self. Brahma is the creator. Shiva is the transformer and the destroyer. And the third eye, the upper center, is used to project reality. So the lower self and the higher self are actually working together in the beneficial aspect of the lower self and the higher self. They are actually working together. The lower self is creating the reality, and it's projecting it up to the third eye, and the third eye is blasting it out, projecting your own reality. You've heard of psychological projection before, so this is what this is. It's not exactly. It's so those are actually two different things, but we assign value to our reality. So this is what this is doing. And so what I really wanted to talk about was so actually in okay, so we'll get to that. So in what is it? In Norse mythology, we have Odin, Vili, and Ve. So in Norse mythology, we have these are the three gods that created the universe. So Odin, we all know of, right? Odin, which is actually called Woden, and Wod is shamanic ecstasy. So that tells us that Shiva and Odin are the same god, the god of shamanic ecstasy, the god of spiritual bliss and enlightenment and happiness. So if we follow Odin, that means he will lead us to our bliss. So we have Odin, Vili, and Ve. So what is Vili? Vili pertains to Brahma, the creator god. So Vili is willpower. This is Vili. This is if you the the Germanic for will is Vili, and this is the willpower. This is the village of it's like a village of spirits that are working on your behalf. So as you may know or may not know, the body is full of spirits. So the organs within the body, those have their own spirit within them. The lungs, the liver, the kidneys, the stomach, the whatever it is, those are all have their own spirits within them. Now the heart center or the soul is the master, the leader of all the spirits that directs them to do what he wants them to do. But when you're not following your soul, this will lead to the body's disrepair. This will lead to spirits just causing havoc and not, you know, it's just like total chaos. So, you know, so this is what can happen within the body when you're not obeying your soul. So, and then let me talk about the Native American. So, in the Native American tradition, you have this, it's like a rectangle, right? So you have a rectangle here in the middle, a smaller rectangle on top, and a smaller rectangle on the bottom. So this is what we call heaven, earth, and man. So in the middle, we have man, we have the soul, right? This is the Native American tradition. We have heaven, this is the third eye. Heaven, this is the higher self, the spiritual influences upon us. This is what our intuition is trying to tell us to do. This is what our higher self is trying to do, tell us to do. And then we have earth. So the earth, or the dwarves. So this is our lower self in the navel center down here. Have my hand on it. So this is the earth. This is, again, Brahma creation, things like that. And then you have in the center, you have man, Manaj. This is the heart mind. Manaj is a rune for the mind, the heart mind. A lot of people in our modern day context think the mind, oh yeah, he has a very sharp mind. That they think that means the brain. The brain. But in older cultures, the mind meant the heart mind, which meant the spirit or the soul, which meant the loving, caring, the heart mind. So the kind of the essence of a person. In fact, psychology, the study of the mind. Well, psychology actually means the study of the spirit. So, suko means the soul or the spirit. So that's the soul or the spirit. A lot of people think it means mind, like the study of the brain, study of the mind. That's actually neurology. Psychology is the study of the soul. And so, this is like everything that is affecting the soul. Yeah, it's not a mind problem. Like, it's not a brain problem. It's not a thinking problem. It is a problem of the soul. It is a trauma that we experience in our soul. So this 3D Earth, this world that we experience, it's actually it's an experiment in consciousness. But a lot of people are under the illusion that this world is real. We call it a reality. We call it a reality. So, but I can tell you, friends, that this world is not real. And the beautiful thing is, once we're done with this experiment in consciousness is when we return to a higher dimension. We'll be in pure bliss and joy and happiness, and everything will be wonderful. But but this world that we are experiencing right now, this earth, this is basically the assumption that we need to have is that we all decided to come here. We all decided that we want to experience this world. We want to experience what it's like to be limited, to have a limited consciousness, a limited experience of one's own self as a limited human being. And we all have our, this is, our own kind of struggles and problems and experiments that we want to put ourselves through. So, this feeling of mine that I had for quite a while, I still have actually. I'm not gonna say that it's gone, but this feeling of being limited, like, oh God, I can't cause any change in my world. I can't make anything happen for myself. I was told that this is a high-level experiment in, that this is a high-level kind of a test or a experiment for myself. And, whether you pass or you fail, it is what it is. If you fail, you're not going to hell. It's just like, okay, I did my best, and I couldn't, I couldn't overcome that, right? And naturally, what I wanted to say is your lower self is full of unconsciousness. So, people have stomach issues because they can't understand, they can't comprehend what's happening in their life, so they'll have, stomach issues. Well, the lower self is also going through that same thing. It wants to become aware. The job and the role of the higher self is to concentrate that, send the higher self's awareness down to the lower self, to enlighten the lower self, to become fully conscious, fully aware. And this is something that's achieved throughout one's lifetime. So, it takes most people, a lot of people just aren't going to want to even bother with this. They just want to live their lives and live like normal humans do, and that's it. But for those people who are, spiritually inclined, they want the unconscious is wants to be enlightened, to be, to be healed. So this is, I think this is where most of the healing comes from. When you shed light upon the unconscious, when you know, the brighter the light, the the more that the light pierces into the darkness of the unconscious, the more that one is naturally kind of healed, and the more that you operate from like an awareness. Like, so there's this famous quote from Carl Jung that says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and it will seem like fate. So this whole thing about, oh, I can never accomplish anything, my thing that I keep on telling myself, oh, I can never I could never accomplish anything. I'm incapable of making change in my life. The self-devaluing crap that I tell myself, that is what my unconscious is saying. Oh, you can't do it. It's impossible. This is this is what I'm currently battling with. And yeah, of course it's ruling my life, and it seems like, this is my fate. So when we make the unconscious conscious, we see, oh yeah, this is my program. I'm telling myself, oh, you're so stupid, you can't do anything, you're screwed, you're doomed, you're cursed, or whatever it is. And this is the unconscious program that's running in the background. So when I don't battle that, when I don't challenge those things, the higher self is going, that's what you want to manifest? Okay, by all means. And so the higher self manifests what the lower self unconsciously wants to happen. And if I, in the soul, don't do anything, don't take the right actions in order to counteract what the lower self wants, it will just run the program for me. It will just automatically autopilot my life into this downward spiral, crashing. This is what alcoholics, this is what drug addicts have to face every day. And this is why the 12 steps are so important. Because the 12 steps are a system of becoming conscious of those things and then reprogramming it, and allowing, instead of cooperating with the unconscious mind that tells you to do destructive things that will ruin your life, we must make a decision to surrender to our higher self. Now, the higher self is that wisdom part of ourself, is the higher knowledge, the higher wisdom that says, yeah, I know you're feeling horrible and depressed. Yeah, but maybe you should not take that drink of alcohol this time. Maybe we should just go home. Maybe we should just check ourselves into a rehab facility. Maybe we need to do some meditation. Maybe we need to take some positive actions in our lives. Things like this. And so, you know, that's probably the hardest thing to do. Because we're so programmed. We're we're programmed by our unconscious minds. That unconscious self-devaluation program is always running in the background, and everyone, I mean, hey, you could be different. You could be, oh yeah, I have no problem with anything like that. I just take the I just take action on what I want to do, and I love myself, and everything is wonderful and peachy. Wonderful. I'm so happy for you if that's the case for you. I am. I I I envy you. Unfortunately for me, man, my unconscious wants to, you know, destroy my life. My unconscious wants to take me down to the depths and hold me there. And if I don't do anything about that, man, my life is going to be miserable. And so that's what's led me to needing these spiritual tools that I teach. So when I tell you guys, man, this stuff over here is very powerful and it's changed my life, I know you don't believe me. That's okay. I'm being honest, it has. This stuff, these simple, very simple exercises that I teach here at the 90-day or the self-transformation challenge, patreon.com/Gebo the Shaman, and the cosmic qigong course. I mean, those things have just catapulted my life when I use them. And I have to be honest, I haven't been using the tools lately, and that's what's driven me into the darkness. Whenever I do use those tools, it has absolutely changed things in my life to a point where I can't really, like, I can't tell you everything that it's done for me. I know that it's given me it's like a light to the unconscious. It's working with that, with chi. It's working with Shen energy or Shi energy, the heart center. And it just lights up everything in my life, and it makes things just so much better whenever I do that. And so, yeah, lately, I have had to do that. And, so, yeah, this is very important, guys. I'm just now realizing and learning that the stuff that my spiritual teacher has taught me, man, it's so true in my life, and it's so important. And by the way, guys, I promise you guys, I will be bringing about some different stuff in the future, some more advanced exercises and stuff, qigong stuff, shigong, shengong stuff. So yeah, this, it just made me realize how important this stuff is. And I'm like, as I'm talking to you guys, I'm realizing, oh wow, that it's just so important to do these exercises. I mean, if you are anything like me, if your unconscious rules your life and brings you down to the depths like it has me, it's so important to get that unconscious mind trained to operate in your best interest, because the lower self is the dwarves, and when your lower self is functioning properly, the lower self obeys the higher self. So there's this connection between the lower self and the higher self. The lower self obeys the soul. The higher self wants to serve the soul in a, advisory capacity. The lower self obeys the soul. And it's just this, whenever you get the system working properly, it's like it's a proper, it's like a proper running tool. It's like it just makes your life run properly as it should. And it does so much to help the consciousness, just everything, to help your consciousness and to help you take the proper actions. So I want to tell you, and I don't even know what I'm titling this video. I have no idea, but I just want to tell you, if you're one of those people, if you can relate to my story, I promise you that doing these exercises, these simple exercises, if you want to, you can start off with the Cosmic Qigong down here. The Cosmic Qigong, patreon.com/Gebo the Shaman. And then you do, you do the self-transformation challenge. All of these things you can get as you sign up to my Patreon, and you get them at the proper tier. So there's a tier for the Qigong practices, and yeah, they will change your life. And I hope that, sharing my story, telling you about my stuff, will help you to take that action. So I just wanted to continue here. Just a second, let me get some water. Alright, so So what I wanted to tell you is, you know, another thing that you can do is, like, aside from, I would highly recommend the practices there, right here. But if you don't want to do that or whatever, fine. If I would, force everyone in humanity to do these practices because they're so helpful and they would solve a lot of the world's problems. But, so what I can recommend is I want you to go into meditation. Just calm your mind. And when you're in like a very soft, meditative space, I want you to ask your higher self, and you can even think about your higher self as like the perfected version of you, like the most healthiest, most like amazing version of who you are, who you want to be. And I want you to spot the differences. What does your higher self do that you don't do? In fact, you could even ask your higher self for help. Tell me, tell me what to do each day. I want to know what I'm supposed to do, what you want me to do each day. And this is just getting guidance and helpful advice and guidance from the higher self. Just meditate every day, every morning, about, okay, what even just one thing that I can do today that would be helpful for me, and one step closer to where I want to be in life. So when I did that, I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of things that I could do to improve my situation. And that included, making more videos for you guys. That included being just more authentic and more honest. Just being more like having like I've always had an earnest desire to teach you guys, to really dive into, teaching the things that I've found that are most helpful for me, teaching those to you guys. Hopefully they can be helpful to you guys as well. Yeah, so, and there's things like, oh, well, you can change your attitude too. This is another thing that I've learned is like, I've had such a, man, I've just throughout my life, I've just been so horribly depressed. And, I don't know what the root cause of that is. Maybe it's an unconscious attitude or belief that I've held on to. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's hormonal or psychological, or, had to do with my past. But I mean, I have realized that that's something that I haven't really made an attempt to help change. It's just been something that's been static in my life. Like, there's been times in my life where yeah, I'll take actions. I'll do something because I know it's good for me, but I won't change the underlying attitude behind my my underlying attitude stuff. So it's just like stuff like that, man. It's just like so, and like just so just exhausting and stuff. Like, but I believe that we can change our attitudes. I believe that we can change our base assumptions, our beliefs, our assumptions about things like that. And even that stuff, even just, our, like, for me, I didn't know, like for me, I was at my wit's end. This business isn't really working, so I was demotivated to try to upload videos. I wasn't getting clients, to work with me for spiritual coaching, things like that. And so I got very demotivated and very depressed by that. Even though I had tried to upload, for a while there, I was uploading one video every day for like 2, 3 years. And, didn't matter if it was weekends, weekdays, holidays, or non holidays, I would be uploading regardless of what day it was or what holiday. Christmas, I was still uploading. So, and that was an attempt because I wanted to really work with people. I wanted to help people, and I wanted, you know, whether it was astrology clients, I wanted, um, clients, just, business, because I had and I still have a goal of, I want to move to Florida. I want to experience, just a lifestyle in a warm tropical kind of climate. I want to live a life where I'm, being the spiritual teacher that I am, but also, going out and fishing. And I want to be able to fish. I want to be able to go scuba dive. I want to go, to the, you know, scuba dive reefs and things like that. And uh, this is something that my soul has wanted for a long time. And so yeah, it's just like, okay, well, what can I do? I've tried getting people to, I've tried to get people to, um, work with me, be an astrologer, do this and that, try to drum up as much business as I possibly can as a independent, self-employed person. And none of that has worked. None of that has provided me an income that I can, that I can even just to afford an apartment in my own, in the place, in the city that I'm in now. So it's understandably, it's been very, very hard and very frustrating for me. Um, so I felt like, I could, okay, well, that didn't work, so nothing is ever gonna work, right? But I realized that there's certain things that I didn't do. Maybe because I felt uncomfortable with doing them. Maybe because for different reasons, maybe I didn't think about, oh yeah, I could do that. Um, and so working with working with the higher self, the higher consciousness is very important because it'll give you tips and hints and clues that you might not have otherwise thought of. So now, you know, I'm just going to follow the instructions of what my higher self tells me and what my spiritual teacher has taught and guided me to do, which is hard. I mean, you know, putting that down payment for that apartment that I can't afford is very challenging. You know, I'm like like so many people. I'm like, well, this, I'm not gonna like, you know, I can't afford it, you know. That's my thinking when it comes to anything that I really want. It's just like I can't afford it. And being that like I only make uh about, well, less than $800 a month, and having to live off of that, and having to live with my mother and all of these, you know, all of the challenges that I face, yeah, it's been hard. It's been, yeah, just very hard and very challenging to like just to do what my soul tells me. Um, you know, um, so yeah, um, yeah, but yeah, so, but on the other hand, like, what am I gonna do? Just sit around and wait for something to happen? Hope and pray that something happens? Um, I can't do that. I've never been that person. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, it's very crucial that we listen to and obey our higher self. Um, and like I learned with my spiritual teachers, he has a book called The Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. And in there, he basically says, like, you the only thing that we're commanded to do in this life is to obey the commandment of our soul. to do what our soul is telling us to do. That's the only thing that matters. And, do it despite all the challenges and all that. And so one of the things that my spiritual teacher has done is he wants to, go, like, for example, he went to Australia. He didn't have the money to go to Australia, but he went anyway. And it's a very hard thing to do, to just operate from that and to just be, to just trust and hope that things work out. So yeah, it's, especially when you're, limited, like I am. But again, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not going to give in. I have to make something work. So, things like the thing that my higher self told me just yesterday was, okay, well, you have to take some action towards what your soul wants. So whether that means putting in that application for that apartment or whatever it is, even though your wallet, your pocketbook, your bank account says you can't afford it, you gotta do it anyway. And so this is where, trust comes in. I'm still learning to trust the universe, to trust that I'll be taken care of and all that stuff. And it's, man, that's a challenge to do that. So, I mean, yeah, it's, such a challenge. So yeah, guys, just doing what your soul tells you to do, doing what your higher self tells you to do, even though if it's uncomfortable, even though it's, challenging and all that, do it. There's nothing else that you need to do other than doing what your soul tells you to do. And this is what, this is what causes us all the problems, is this unconscious mind. Because when the unconscious mind is out of hand, out of control, this is what causes us all the problems. Because it'll get us to do things and feel different ways that we, it's like crazy town. The lower self has all this unconscious baggage and stuff that, if we're not aware of, it will ruin our life, and it will seem like fate. Like, oh yeah, I just have bad luck. When it's actually just the unconscious, the lower consciousness. So I've given you a tool to help heal that, which is these things. So you have the self-transformation challenge right here. You have the cosmic qigong right here. So, I created those things for a reason, because I got them from my spiritual teacher. And I've found tremendous benefit in those things, and I, yeah, it's just so helpful. So, if you guys want to be a part of that, then you can go to my Patreon, patreon.com/GeboTheShaman, and sign up there. Alright? And I'm not just trying to, sell you something cheap and take the money. That's not what I'm here for. I want to help you guys. I want to empower you guys. I want to teach you guys. I want so desperately to be helpful to you guys, to help you guys change your life, and to be a spiritual teacher, a spiritual counselor for you guys. Um, this is what I was put here to do. So in this, when you sign up with me, when you sign up to my Patreon, when you purchase anything from me, you don't know it, but you're actually helping me to fulfill my dharma. So you're actually playing a pivotal role in helping me to fulfill my dharma, the highest path of my soul. So it means a lot. And so, yeah, I can only hope that I'm helping you in some way to fulfill your dharma. And so this is just the beginning of many honest conversations that we're going to have on this channel. I want to be of help to you. I want to be helpful to you. And the best way that I can do that, I feel, is by sharing my own experiences, sharing my own struggles, sharing my own stuff. So I hope that this is helpful to you. I've been hiding for a long time from myself and from others. The whole vulnerability thing is, it's a struggle for me, but I'm made a commitment that I am going to do this. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, yeah, so if you find it in your heart, please do give this video a like, and, yeah, and leave a positive comment down below. Okay? And for other services and things like that, if you want distance energy healing sessions, you can go to GeboTheShaman.com. I do have my book out on Amazon, Tantric Secrets of Vedic Astrology. That is at Amazon, now available. And astrology readings and things like that are available at GeboTheShaman.com. If you want a channeling session from the ETs, you can do that. You can go to GeboTheShaman.com. If you want another service that that's not listed, or if you just want to interact with me, if you want me to coach you, if you want me to teach you, go to GeboTheShaman.com. There's a contact button there where you can get in touch with me if you want to. I'm always open and available to hear people out, hear your own stories, or just, whatever. So yeah. That's all I got for today, guys. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. I choose to do well. I choose to, you know, have a positive attitude today. So yeah, it's just about that, guys. Today is a new day. Today I can choose to act upon my higher consciousness. So can you. Alright. Alright, guys. I love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Alright. Let's see. Alright, bye. See ya.